How's it going to everybody in the YouTube community, knife community, in the gun community and paracord community? All seems to tie in. My name is Mike, and of MHC Knives, and this knife is more about my business and my stance and role in the knife community. I've been in the sales of knives since 2008. I started it as a part-time business just because I collect knives and own knives, and so I just got excited to get into the knife sales. I did it part-time, which I still do it only part-time. Well, here lately it's been more full-time because I've been out of work due to an injury, and but I did it knife shows, craft shows. There's a couple flea markets that I'll hit up at certain times of the year just because I know I can do some good sales there with the experience I've had. So, and I sell production knives anywhere from the $10 cheap knife to $400, $500, $600 knife. So I usually don't go over that. There's some knives out there and some swords that I can get that are up in the $1,000 range, and I have had some people that's had me order them some, but I don't usually deal in those because it just ties up too much cash flow to inventory that kind of product, or a whole lot of it. So I want to talk about these production knives because there's so much information out there on them, and production knives, let me tell you, is a pretty big business, and there's so many manufacturers. There's so many fake knives. I see them all the time. I can surf the web, and a lot of my products that I sell and my pricing that I get, I'll research whether to sell it, because depending on the availability on certain manufacturers, Microtech's one of the, and Spyderco are the worst too. It's depending on how many my guys can get, and then that depends on the price. If you got something that's really hot and they can't get many, they jack the price up on you some. Which you have something that's supply and demand. But there probably isn't a knife brand that I haven't sold, and I have experience. I go to trade shows, and I'm a member of a couple knife associations, so I get emails and I keep up in the industry. And the internet is a good thing, and it's a bad thing. I tried a website. It was just too much for me to keep up with and hassle with. I wasn't really producing no more than I could do going out to a knife show or a craft show, or I've actually sat in the parking lot at the farmer's market before and sold knives on the weekend. So, with that being said, you really need to buy a production knife for what you intend on using it for. People say, "Oh, I don't want that knife because it's made in China." Well, people that are, I'm a United States citizen, and my country is United States, and that's where my loyalties lie. But there's a lot of companies that went to China to no fault of their own, and they're actually American companies that import their stuff back into the United States for sales. And even some of the larger companies and USA companies that are in the USA, you'd be surprised on how many of them guys that are made in the USA they're assembled in the USA. And the import laws are such as, if a product is made overseas and it's packaged to be brought back in here for resale, it has to be stamped made in USA. But if somebody makes parts overseas and ships them in a bulk container, that's not a finished product, and it doesn't necessarily have made in China on it. So you gotta know where that deal is. There's so many clone knives. Microtech and Spyderco are the biggest two that's cloned, and you really gotta, when you're buying them knives, especially on the internet, you really need to know what you're looking at. These companies, especially Spyderco, they have their own off-brand knife, which is about half the cost of their regular knife, and it has Spyderco um, trademarked designs in them. They don't have the Spyderco name, and I don't remember the name. I just had an email on this the other day, but nevertheless, you just gotta watch. I just was looking at the internet doing some pricing, and I was looking at it as an Ontario knife, and I was just checking other websites because that's how I'm going to sell it, based on internet pricing, because that's where everybody goes to get their stuff, and that's where a lot of prices get set as to retail. And I'll get into that a little bit too in a minute. So I'll go check eBay, Amazon, some of the big knife websites, and see what they're selling them for. And after you check a few of them, most of them guys are in line with each other. And a lot of the companies set MAP pricing, which is the minimum advertised price. And they have to advertise it at a certain price. And that tries to make the playing field even for all dealers. So you don't have a big dealer that buys a bulk quantity cut and gets a better price because he's buying a bulk quantity, getting a bulk price, putting them on sale and outselling the little guys. But what happens is you'll see in some of these sites that it'll say call for, absolute, because they have to advertise it in print and in any kind of advertisement they do at a certain price. That don't mean they have to sell it to you at that price. So, they can give you a discount when you call them. Yeah, well, we'll give you, we have a special, blah, 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 or you're a new customer, you can get 20, any of that kind of stuff. It's a big game how that's done. So, that's how I'm pricing my stuff. I can, most of my stuff that I sell, I can beat any price on the internet. And I usually do when I'm selling it out in, at a knife show or something like that. But I don't advertise. If I follow the rules. If there's a supplier says you got to have a MAP price, then that's what I advertise it at. Now I might sell it a little bit cheaper than that, but that's not because what happens is if you get a lot of people that's not beating the rules, and you can't, them companies won't sell to you no more. And I'm a licensed dealer. I got a business license, and so all the product that I sell, I'm licensed to sell that product. Now, that's why if you go on there and you'll see I've seen Microtech knives, say they're on the internet for say it's $160 retail. And you look at 4 or 5 different people, and then you see one that says $80 some. You really got to wonder why that place is able to sell them. Why they would want to, first of all, because usually that knife, if they're selling it at that, they're probably selling it below their cost. And some places will do that, especially if they're got a couple left and they're just wanting to get rid of them. It's the end of the year. A lot of times this time of year that happens. New stuff's getting ready to come out, so. But so you gotta watch some of that stuff. But also, a lot of these companies sell seconds or blims to closeout companies, stuff that doesn't pass their quality control but isn't bad enough to just scrap altogether. Walmart is a big company that does that. That's how they get their prices so low online. Their guns. Take this for example for guns. I had a gun dealer guy, a friend of mine, at a knife and gun show, and he was telling me about Walmart and their guns. And, what Walmart does is they buy factory seconds and blim items, and then they sell them. And they're brand new guns, and they offer warranties. But that's also the reason that Walmart is the number one destroyer of guns, is because they sell you that gun and you bring it back. Now they got to keep it because they got a problem because they're buying the factory seconds or blims. They can't send it back to the factory. Because that's, they got special pricing for that. And they can't resell it because they're only licensed to sell new guns. And once it's been sold and brought back, it's used. So that's what. But also that happens in the knives too. So, I have dealers and there's blades and different stuff that's blim stuff all the time that I could get. And sometimes I'll do that depending on what it is, and it's not nothing usually that's going to affect the performance of it. It's just something mostly time cosmetic. Just doesn't. Some of these companies have such strict and they want everything to fit every tolerance, and you might get a knife come through, the knife handle is not within the tolerance of their quality control, and they kick it out, and there's nothing wrong with the knife. It's just that's just the way it is. So that's that deal. So what I'm going to be doing on my YouTube channel is I'm not able to go out like I usually do because I broke my ankle, and but I've been pretty busy this time of year because I have customers that I've sold to every time, and I get emails all the time, people saying, hey, look, I've seen this knife, can you get this knife? And there's not a knife made that I can't get, as long as my supplier has it. And some of the stuff's discontinued, some of the stuff is they're only on limited runs, so each supply house only gets so many. It's hard for me to buy direct from the factory because I don't buy a semi-truckload of them like some of these big houses do. So I have suppliers. I got one knife supplier's got 1,200 page catalog. So, and of every knife, Microtech, Gerber, Spyderco, Buck, Case, all the way down to the cheap knives. And that's what I was talking about earlier about buy a knife depending on how you're going to use it. Because, if you're going to be using it just a beater knife, throw around knife, blah, 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 you might as well buy you a cheap knife. There's some companies out there, there's some knives made by some places, M-Tech, Elk Ridge, Right Edge, any of those are Chinese-made knives, but they're high-quality Chinese-made knives. And, I sell them all the time, and people love them. And I never have one returned, and I never have a problem with them. They're sharp. The problem is how long are they going to last as far as severe use and sharpening them, and how long are they going to hold an edge? Because if they're made of, most of them are all made of stainless, and if they're not made of a high carbon stainless, then they're not going to hold edge very long, and you'll have to constantly be sharpening them. But on on the other hand, if you're out in the woods or yard working and you got an old knife and you lose it, you don't have $200 in it. If you're looking, but some people won't carry but nothing but a high quality knife, and that's fine. But what I'm going to be doing with my channel is I'm going to be doing some knife reviews, just some general news about knives. Let's see, we're at almost 13 minutes in this video. Some tutorial stuff that on certain knives about maintenance. And I'm still making my knives. I just I like making the knives, but I also like selling knives, and I like dealing with people on knives. That's just the kind of person I am. So I'm ramping up my little knife making deal, but I'm also I'm gonna be doing some giveaways, contests. And I'm talking about, my channel's, new, and, so, nobody doesn't really know me a whole lot, and, so, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers, and I don't have a whole lot of content yet, but I'm going to be changing that. Looks like with my injury, I ain't going to be back to work no time soon, so I'm going to have plenty of time, so I'm going to have to, I can't just sit in the chair all day long, even though when I go to walk, it takes me forever to walk across the house, but that's it. And also I don't just sell knives. I have a whole line of tactical gear, packs and bags and scopes and holsters and just all lights. I have a whole, and I got into it a couple years ago. Started getting into some tactical stuff because my knife people were like, most knife people are gun owners, and most gun owners, are hunters, and are tactical guys, or prepping kind of people, whatever. And they're like, hey man, can you get any of this? Can you get this? Can you get that? Can you get this? What kind of scopes can you get? So, I got suppliers for all that. And for the fishing people, I got stuff for that. So, when I go to a knife show, I have to get 3 or 4 tables, and I set up a gun accessory table, a knife table, a fishing kind of table. Just an outdoors kind of deal. And I'm kind of like a miniature Cabela's, I guess. But and I'm gonna start bringing some. I'm gonna start reviewing some of these new products that's coming out, and that I normally would buy anyway. And I'm gonna review them on YouTube. Start doing some content like that, and then I'll if somebody off of YouTube wants to buy something like that, just shoot me an email. I'm not going to really be doing sales videos on eBay. I don't do eBay anymore either. I did eBay, and that's just more trouble than it's worth. Did Amazon. I done the whole deal with that, and I do better just going to my shows and my trade craft deals, and hell, I can set up on the side of the highway where I live, and people know me, stop and buy stuff. But I have people calling me all the time needing a certain thing. So I'm gonna do some knife reviews on production knives, different tools. Leathermans. Multi tools. There's 3 main ones that I sell. One's an off-brand, one's the Leatherman stuff, and then Gerber makes a line. And the Leatherman and the Gerber, everybody knows the Leatherman, but Gerber has some stuff that's almost identical and works just as good for a lot less money. But so anybody needing backpacks or day packs or just anything, I just whatever. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Just a video that's what I'm putting together. I'm working at it right now, seeing how I'm going to do it, because I have to have certain inventory for my regular customers and my regular stuff that I do. But a lot of that I don't have to have, right? It's thinned down a little bit because I haven't been able to go as much as I normally do. But I gotta be careful being small. The money I tie up. So I can't buy a bunch of stuff and keep it for a year. I gotta pretty much know, and I know pretty much stuff I can turn. Subscribe to my channel. We're gonna be doing a lot of. I don't know what kind of. I know I'm gonna start a deal with subscribers and giveaways, some knife giveaways, some equipment giveaways, accessories. There's a bunch of paracord stuff that I can get. I can get paracord, and it's the good paracord that's USA made, and it's the 550 7-strand. They make a nylon and a polyester, whichever one is. The nylon seems to be more the way everybody goes, but and it's cheaper than the polyester. Don't know why, it just is. So subscribe to my channel. Keep looking for my videos. With it being the holidays and with my ankle and going to doctors, I'm kind of limited on the time in the videos I have, and so I'm just hobbling around here at the house. And I decided to make this video so people know, because I started my thing, I put some things up, I talked to some people, and then all of a sudden I ain't done anything. That's not because I ain't watching, I ain't here. I just I got to maintain it however I can. So we're at 18 minutes. I think this is a long enough video. If anybody has any questions, you can PM me or email me at mhcknives@gmail.com. Either way. I've been working on some new intro pages and just different things. So until the next time, my name is Mike with MHC Knives, and I'm out of here.